Okay, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Once again, this is County Court at Law number 6 in Bexar County. It is Thursday, the 3rd of June, 2021 at approximately 3:25 p.m. At this time, we're taking up a matter of motion to modify bond conditions. Motion to alter and amend terms and conditions of bond in cause number 657657 and 657658, State of Texas versus Zach Paul Munoz Lopez, represented by Mr. Victor R. Gomez. And let's see what I've got on my sheet. My understanding is, correct me if I'm wrong, representing the state once again is Miss Alexis O'Connor. I see on my list that I currently have Mr. Munoz Lopez on full GPS, no contact order with North Star Mall in San Antonio, Texas, located at 7400 San Pedro Avenue, San Antonio, Texas. No use or possession of firearms. Weekly report in UA. And that's what I've got. Is there anything else, defense, that you're aware of that I have ordered that I'm not aware of?
No, that's a judge. And there's 3 cases. There's also the 657, 656.
I think that one was dismissed. At least my document.
Let me see.
Well, what's going on with
I think you're right.
656.
Okay.
Is that case been dismissed, state, or what's going on with it?
Yes, Judge.
Okay.
All right. So well done, Mr. Gomez. You've already won 1 out of 3.
Hopefully I'm on the roll. When you're ready, Judge, can I plead my case?
Let me say that normally when we have any kind of hearing on a Zoom in a remote virtual type setting, we normally send out a waiver that everybody would sign. For whatever reason, we didn't send a waiver out on this particular hearing. So if the state does not object, I'm going to orally authorize both the defense and the state to agree to that if they want to. So starting with the state, do you have any objection to us hearing this motion to modify bond conditions without a written waiver?
No objection, Judge.
Defense, do you have any objection?
No objections, Your Honor.
All right, then I think we're fine. So go ahead, Mr. Gomez, and set out, if you would, what it is you're requesting and the reasons for it.
Okay, Judge, we're requesting that the court alter and amend the full GPS home arrest. Mr. Munoz Lopez has been incarcerated at home, basically with the GPS, since March. His funds have run out. He's continually calling me to ask when we can have a hearing on this because they're getting ready to kick him out. Mr. Munoz is here without family. His family's in Mexico. He works, sends money over there. Mr. Lopez Munoz is here legally. Well, when he got arrested, again, they charged him with these 3 offenses. The last one, the evading, was dismissed, but we still have the other 2. We would like the court to consider a partial GPS so he's allowed to go to work. I know the state may argue, well, he had a gun, he was at a mall. But Judge, again, there's no terroristic threat involved here. There's no charge for that. There's no disorderly conduct. There was any kind of assault on the public servant. He's being charged with just the unlawful carrying a weapon and the evading. Now, Mr. Lopez Munoz would like to discuss why he had the gun, but from what my understanding, he lived with another couple who apparently the woman was getting too romantic with him and felt threatened by the husband, so he left them and found another place. And then again, he had been assaulted one time just walking home from work, so he was carrying that gun for safety purposes. If the court would allow me, I'll continue that he walked into the mall. Apparently somebody called in that there was going to be some kind of shooting, and first thing they saw him with a hoodie on, they tried to stop him and he got scared, thought he was going to get assaulted and ran. So we're asking the court to consider that, again, to allow that partial GPS Mr. Munoz Lopez would like to go back to work. He needs to go back to work so he can continue living here without having to go on the street. He's been reporting as the probation pretrial people have ordered him to do so. He's been doing it by the Zoom. Actually, he's been going in person on that. And I have not seen any kind of violations by the probation pretrial people that he's not complying with their request. So at this point, Judge, we're asking partial GPS if the court wants to continue him on some kind of GPS, but a partial GPS, Mr. Munoz, with conditions, of course, judges, the court may order him to do to keep in touch with the pretrial people until his case is set.
Let me hold you there before we get to the state. I don't know any facts of this case other than guns were involved. That's all I really know. So from the defense standpoint, would you mind taking me by the hand and telling me specifically what happened in this case from your perspective?
From my perspective, from my client's perspective, he was walking to the mall, He had just walked into the mall, was talking to his mom.
San Antonio, correct?
North Star Mall, Judge. He was looking for the Foot Locker shoe store. He was going to go buy a pair of those pennies, I guess, that young individuals buy. He was talking to his mom at the time, actual time, but his mom and his dad. He was on the phone with them on a cellular. And that's when he was grabbed on the shoulder, and apparently that's what scared him and took off running. Nothing was discharged, no firearm was discharged. Again, that's it. I mean, the only concerns, I guess the state, the last prosecutor I spoke with, basically Mr. Maru, was concerned because they had received some kind of call. Well, there's nothing indicating that it was any specific individual. Nobody was looking for Mr. Munoz Lopez. Mr. Munoz Lopez has never been arrested before. Again, he's just trying to make a living to provide for himself and for his family in Mexico. So nothing unusual other than that, Judge, that there was a phone call and that was it.
And did you indicate, I apologize, I had a hard time hearing. Did you indicate initially that Mr. Lopez is legally in Texas, so there won't be any ICE issues or any other federal concerns at any point? So we're good.
That is correct. If he was on an ICE issue, he would not be on the bond. They would have held him.
And did you tell me he was with his mother when he was in the mall? Is that what you said?
No, he was on the phone, on the cellular phone with his mom and dad, excited about telling him he was had earned enough money to go buy some shoes.
Okay. And he was inside the mall by himself, I guess. Then. Yes.
And he's here, Judge. If you want, I can question him with regard to those type of issues.
I assume this was a handgun. Is that correct?
Correct.
And what kind of handgun was it?
Oh, that I don't have that right in front of me, Judge.
Make and caliber.
State might have that.
So off the top of my head, I know it's a 9mm.
Mr. Lopez, do you know what handgun this was?
Oh, I don't know the brand of it, but I just know it was a 9mm.
Okay. And how much ammunition did you have with you at the time?
Around 6 rounds, probably.
Like whatever's in the magazine, you didn't have any extra ammunition?
No, it was less than, it was like missing bullets out of the magazine. It was like only 6-7 bullets in the magazine.
Okay. Do you have any and counsel, if I start to step on somebody's toes or ask questions you don't want your client to answer, feel free to jump in here.
I will, Judge. You can ask him.
Mr. Lopez, do you have any reason to think why someone would call the police and say you were going to go shoot up North Star Mall?
Judge, I'll stand corrected. It wasn't called in on him specifically. It was just a call that was made. And since he was wearing a hoodie on a phone, it appears that's a common thread, I guess, that cops look for.
Well, let me ask you, and once again, I'm flying blind. I don't know any of these facts.
No, I understand.
What exactly did the caller say, and who did he call to say it to?
I think it was to the mall.
To the North Star Mall, like security, or just whoever answered the phone?
If the state has other additional information, they can.
You know what the content of the caller conversation was with whoever he called?
Yes, Judge. The caller said that he's going to go shoot up the mall at 3 p.m. He called Macy's to tell them that.
And did they know specifically that it was Mr. Lopez that was doing it, or who did they say?
They just knew it was going to be a male, Judge.
Okay, well, that narrows it down for us.
300,000, right?
So what brought Mr. Lopez to the attention of a security officer or a police officer that he was stopped and questioned?
He had a hoodie on, Judge, and he's talking on a phone. Basically, that is it. If you have a hoodie on, if you've seen the news, I don't know if you still look at it, but basically, they look at those individuals, and I hate to say it, but they're already targeted, that they want to talk to them first.
And State, I assume y'all read a police report on this case?
Correct, Judge.
Obviously, I haven't read it. Did the arresting officer or was it security guard? How was Mr. Lopez actually stopped, and for what reason? And how did they come to find the gun? All that kind of stuff.
So several officers, after getting a call that the mall's going to be shot up at 3 p.m., they get there at 3 p.m. and they spread out throughout the mall looking for anybody suspicious. They see the defendant in a hoodie with the hoodie over his head, walking quickly. The officer calmly taps him on the shoulder and he bolts, and they have to tackle him in the middle of the mall, and a gun falls out of his pocket.
Right.
Defense, would you agree that that's what happened?
That's probably what happened, but more not a tap, but a grab. And yes, if you can.
But I was in the mall before 3 o'clock. I was in the mall around 2:20.
Right. I was going to say that. But he was there, Judge. Again, the fact that he just had that hoodie over his head, talking on the phone, again, quote unquote, suspicious in their eyes.
And this was in March of 2021. Does that sound right?
March 21st, 21. You're correct.
Was it cold that day?
No, Judge, the officer was sweating. He specifically noted that in the offense report.
Okay. Let's talk about where Mr. Lopez works. Where's Mr. Lopez work?
Well, Judge, he used to work. He got laid off, fired, I guess, because he couldn't attend work. He was working at doing a detail at Paradise Detail on Evers Road. But that job, I don't know, is still available. Mr. Munoz, are you still able to go back to that job?
Oh yeah, probably yeah. I need
Probably,
to talk to that was a good work. I just need to talk to the manager and ask him if I could get my job back.
Okay. And if he doesn't get you the job, are you asking the court to allow you to go look for another job?
Yeah.
Okay.
Hey, Mr. Lopez, why are you running away from a police officer?
I have never been arrested before, so I was just like scared because I don't know, I never been arrested before.
And State, would you agree that there are no priors on Mr. Lopez?
There's no priors, Judge, but he was a suspect in an aggravated assault with a deadly weapon. And Judge, the gun did come up stolen.
And did it say what kind of gun it is? I know it's a 9mm. It's okay. And does your police report say how much ammunition that Mr. Lopez had with him at the time that they confiscated the gun, I guess?
Judge, I don't know if it's listed under property or not.
And what I'm getting at is, serial killers carry extra magazines and lots of extra ammunition, and that would be one thing. And if he just has a regular handgun and extra number of rounds in the magazine and no extra ammunition, that would be something else. Obviously, it's still a gun, but less aggravated. Okay, so as we speak, Mr. Lopez does not have an actual job. Was that accurate?
Yes.
He has a possibility of getting jobs, but he doesn't actually have a job right now.
Correct.
Yeah.
All right. And does Mr. Lopez go to school? I mean, he looks very young. Let's ask that question. How old are you, Mr. Lopez?
I'm 18 years old.
Okay. And are you a high school graduate?
Nah, I couldn't finish high school. I had to start working.
Okay. And what do you want to do in life? Do you have any specific areas that you like to work or something that you want to do for a career path? What do you want to do?
I want to be a mechanic, honestly.
Have you tried to pursue that at all?
Yeah, cause I like cars, and like I know some like 3 of my uncles in Mexico, they're like mechanics, so like I know some about it, you know. So I would like to be a mechanic.
So how are you surviving if you're not working? Who's taking care of you or buying your food, or how's that working?
I had got my income tax check, and then I had got my stimulus check, so I had got both. Plus, I had a little bit of money saved up, so that's how I'm surviving.
Do you have a house or an apartment or somewhere to live?
No, I live with the lady, and she rents me a little room.
Okay. That pretty much covers my questions. State, you have defense. First off, do you have anything else you want to talk about based on my question before I ask the state to see if they have any questions?
No, Judge, I'm fine.
State, you have questions? Your witness.
Do you know when you bought the gun?
Yeah, it was last year around like October, after the incident that happened at the other house.
And where did you buy it from?
It was a gun show. It was a private seller.
So you bought the gun in October of 2020 at a gun show during the pandemic?
Yeah.
And do you know why the gun came up stolen?
I don't know. It was a private seller. Like, I didn't have no paperwork or none of that.
Did you think you were legally holding the firearm?
Yeah, because
So
I was 18 years old at the time.
So why did you run?
Because, like I said, I never been arrested before. I never been charged with nothing. I never been to jail before. I was just like scared because I don't know what was gonna happen to me.
No further questions, Judge.
Okay. By federal law, you can't even buy a handgun unless you're 21. Now, I guess at a gun show or something, they didn't ask for any identification. Is that kind of how that worked?
Yeah, when it's a private seller, yeah, that's how it works.
Have y'all done any chatting with the DA to see if this could be resolved?
Judge, I've sent a couple of emails for an offer. I've yet to receive one. Even we're set for Tuesday, so hopefully
Before
I'll
I
get
make
some.
a ruling, would you be willing, sir, Mr. Gomez, to go into a chat room with one or both DAs and chat with them about the possibility of resolving this? Because that's my big problem. If he were on some form of probation where I had some sort of control over him, that would be one thing. And I wouldn't get excited about the GPS issue.
All right.
But as it is now, I've got, guns are about the most serious type case we have in this court. And obviously he didn't point anybody. He didn't shoot anything. I understand everything you pointed out to me already. But it's going to have to get resolved sooner or later. And I don't think this is really a triable case, but that's your decision, not mine.
Well, we're trying to resolve it, Judge. But I'll be glad to go in a breaking room and.
You got plenty of time today. Alexis, would you or you and Nick go chat with Mr. Gomez, and Zach and I'll stand by.
Yes, Judge.
Will do, Judge. Thank you.
Room 2. I'm going to put y'all in 2.
Mr. Lopez, if you want to go get a drink of water or something, bring it back, or use the bathroom or something, now's a good time.
Your
Nah,
Honor.
I don't need to.
Okay, Your Honor, Mr. Gravata signed both of the both of the paperwork, so you just need to sign them.
Okay. And Mr. Holzback, what's going on? Jeff?
I just had a quick question for you about the plea paperwork.
Sure.
Whenever you get a chance on the plea we just did, or that we started and didn't finish.
Okay, so what's your question specifically?
So on that, and I had already brought this up to the state, so this isn't ex parte or anything, but on the last document for Mr. Vasquez, the plea bargain, which was specifically talking about pleading guilty to the offense of obstructing a highway. The second page under the oath, it lists a series of documents there. And some of them, I believe, were a part of our plea packet, but some of them were not. And I didn't know if that was just a form used by the state and maybe it was an old template. But I didn't know if motor vehicles and household, the waiver of objection, those documents, I didn't see as part of our plea packet. So I don't know if they are something that needs to be filled out by him through probation.
I see a document on the very top, plea bargain.
Exactly, that's the obstruction.
Waiver of appeals and post-conviction remedies. And that's allegedly signed by you and your defendant and Ms. O'Connor as the ADA. And then there's some oaths and stuff that the gentleman would have to take if he actually went on probation. There's a trial court certification of defendant's right of appeal, which is a boilerplate normal document. Then there's a application for probation, or in this case, deferred adjudication. And that's what probation is, a document probation uses. And
Yeah.
basically it talks about, I guess, defendant's priors and or what he's currently doing, whether he's married, whether he has kids, where his job is, all that stuff, I think. Is that what you're referring to, or is there a different document?
Well, it's just in that document, the second page where the top of the page says oath, there's a list of documents and waiver of objection to amendment, judicial confession, those things. I didn't know if I didn't know if those were in reference to the plea packet we filled out. Those sound a little bit different than what we actually filled out. And so I didn't know if there was something additional he needed to sign.
Okay, what I'll tell you is this, because I created the template. This is a form created by the DA's office, so I think it's just a general form that is filled out.
And that's fine.
It's
that's
the
fine.
same
Yeah.
thing. I've got it here.
Okay.
Okay, yeah. Everything at this point says the same.
Okay.
Okay.
Great.
Okay. So, Your Honor, are you signing Mr. Guevara's paperwork?
Yes, I am.
Thank you very much, and I will send them to you.
Okay, there's one.